All right. So today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be using set limits on numbers to try and see what the maximum amount of something we can find is. Now, first thing I want y'all to do is I want you to try and work on this formula. So it says, given the following, how many outfits are possible? So pause the video, take a second, and we'll talk about it. Okay. So how many outfits are possible? Well, how many tops do we have? We've got 4 possible shirts and 3 possible skirts, right? So that means that we could have a combination of 4 times 3 or 12 total outfits. Okay, so we can have a combination of 12 total outfits here. And here we go. So it says not enough numbers. It says a telephone number in the form NYZ, sorry about that, NYZ ABC XXXX has 3 sections: the area code, the exchange code, and then the station code. And it says before 1995, all area codes had the form NYZ, where N was any digit from 2 to 9, Y was 0 or 1s, and I want to specify here, anytime you see or, always think addition. So if you see the word or, think, okay, this is addition. So it says N was any digit from 2 to 9, Y was 0 or 1, and Z was 1 through 9 if Y was 0, or Z was 2 through 9 if Y was 1. The restrictions on N save 0 for call operator and 1 for long distance calls. In addition, codes such as 800 and 911 were and still are used for special purposes. The restriction that Y equals 0 or 1 was removed in 1995 because all possible area codes have been assigned. Today, N is 2 through 9, Y is 0 through 8, and Z is 0 through 9. The exception to these rules are the codes for 37Z and 96Z, which are being reserved for future use. Area codes where Y equals Z are called easily recognizable codes and are often assigned to special services, such as 800 and 877. Question 1, how many area codes were possible before 1995? So it says before 1995, all area codes had the form NYZ, where N was any digit from 2 to 9, Y was 0 or 1, and then remember this means addition. So, and Z was 1 through 9 if Y was 0, or Z was 2 through 9 if Y was 1. So the restrictions on N saved 0 for call operator and 1 for long distance. All right, so it's asking us, we have 2 different cases here. This is a case-by-case type of problem. So remember how we said Y was either 0 or 1? Well, we're going to look at if Y was 0, then Z is 1 through 9. And if the case 2 would be if Y is 1, then Z is 2 through 9. So remember, the form follows N, Y, Z for each of these. Okay. And now if Y is 0, how many possible options can you have for Y? Well, there's only one possible option, and it has to be 0, right? Now for N, how many options did we say we had? We said that N was any digit from 2 to 9. So that means you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there are 8 possible outcomes that N could be. And then the last one is Z. So Z is 1 through 9. That means we had 9 possible outcomes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means Z could possibly be 9 possible outcomes. So whenever we're looking at these, we've got 8 times 1 times 9, which gives us 72. So that means there's 72 possible outcomes if Y is 0. If Y is 1, well, same thing applies. If Y is 1, there's only one possible outcome for Y. It's 1. N, still the same, 2 through 9 digits. So we have 8 possible outcomes. And Z instead of 1 through 9 is 2 through 9 this time. So we know that there's 8 possible outcomes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 8 outcomes. And so we got 8 times 1 times 8, which gives us 64. And remember how up here we said 0 or 1 means addition? All we're going to do is we're going to add these two possible totals together to get our total. So 72 plus 64, that equals 136 possible outcomes. Okay? And now it says, according to post-1995 rules, post-1995 rules, how many area codes are possible? So now remember, it says that the restriction that y equals 0 or 1 was removed in 1995 because all possible area codes had been assigned. Today, n is 2 through 9. So I'm just going to mark where it says 2 through 9, that's 8 possible outcomes. Y is 0 through 8. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 possible outcomes. 9 through 0, that's 10 possible outcomes. So the exception to these rules are area codes of the form 37Z and 96Z, which are being reserved for future use. So what we need to do is we need to look at the total possible outcomes minus these two reserved ones, because remember, we can't use those for area codes. So if we scroll down a little bit, okay, we know that N is 2 through 9. That's 8 possible outcomes. So this is N, Y, Z. 0 through 8, that's 9 possible outcomes. 0 through 9, that's 10 possible. So in total, there are 720 possible outcomes right here. Now the exceptions, remember, we got to take these out. 3, 7, Z. If N has to be 3, how many possible outcomes are there? There's only one, right? If y has to be 7, then there's only one outcome. It's 7. There's no other way. And then z, again, it's 0 through 9, so we're going to use that over here. It is 10 possible outcomes. So we've got 1 times 1 times 10, which gives us 10. And then same thing over here. If it's telling us n is 9, then that means that there's only one outcome. N is 9. If y is 6, then that means there's only one possible outcome. And then z again, we have 10 again. So 1 times 1 times 10 gives us 10. So total number of area codes, okay, it's 720 with the exception of these 10 and 10. So I'm going to have minus 10, minus 10. So my total possible outcomes are 700. So I have 700 total possible area codes. Okay. Now, part 3, it says the 7-digit numbers. There we go. The 7-digit numbers in a given area code have the form ABC XXXX, where X, B, and C can be any digit from 0 to 9, and A is restricted to 2 through 9. There are two other restrictions. B and C cannot be equal to 1, since these values are designated for other purposes, such as 911 and 411. And 555-0100 through 555-0199 are reserved for fictional uses, such as television shows or movies. So it says, according to these conditions, how many numbers, 7-digit numbers, are possible in a single area code? So we have to look at the total possible amount, the total possible, and then take out the restrictions. Okay, if it says there's a restriction, it says we can't use that value, then we have to take it out. So total 7-digit numbers from what is given to us. We know that X, B, and C is 0 through 9, so that means 0 through 9, those are 10 possible outcomes. A is 2 through 9, that's 8 possible outcomes. So if we're following the form A, B, C, X, 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 I know that A is 8 possible outcomes, B is 10, C is 10, and then X's are 10. So I'm going to get 8 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to be 8 times 10 to the 6th. So that's the total amount of outcomes. Now I need to look at the first one. The B and C is equal to 1 at the same time, and then I got to look at my restriction over here. So the second restriction, excuse me. So I've got B and C is equal to 1 at the same time. So I know that it still follows the form A, B, C, X, 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 X. A has 8 possible outcomes. If B and C are equal to 1, how many options do you have for B? Just 1, right? Same for C. And then X, we have 10 possible outcomes. So it's 10, 10, 10, 10. And I'm just multiplying these out just like I did over here. So I've got 8 times 1 times 1 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And so I've got 8 times 10 to the 4th. And then the only other restriction is you can't have any numbers between 5550100 and 5550199. So if you count those up, you would have, this is 100 numbers. Okay, so total number of 7-digit numbers, we've got 8 times 10 to the 6th. And then our first restriction we take away, minus 8 times 10 to the 4th, and then minus just 100. So we're going to get, if you calculate that, you would get 7,919,900 numbers. Okay. And the last thing we want to look at, is using your answers to the previous questions, determine how many digits, 10-digit numbers, are possible in North America. So the two things we got to look at, the possible area codes, and the possible 7-digit numbers. Those are the two things we looked at, right? Possible 7-digit numbers. So, possible area codes, we said that there were 700 total possible area codes, and then we said there were 7,919,900 possible 7-digit numbers. And so what we need to do is we just need to look at 700 times 7,919,900, and we get 5,543,930,000 total possible 7-digit numbers. Okay. So that is the total number of possible 10-digit numbers. Oh, excuse me, not 7-digit. 10-digit numbers that we can have based on the parameters and the restrictions that they gave us.